been trying to get, just like a little bit more into Ravelry. I didn't realize, I didn't realize Ravelry was hot like that. Everybody's on Ravelry or whatever, but I've tried to dibble dabble a couple of times. I don't know. I've never been able to, upload a full project from start to finish on Ravelry, but I have saved, like a lot of things. Saved, is that what it's called? I do have a lot of Ravelry favorites. I'm kind of in a place with my knitting where like I want to knit something new just because the projects that I have right now, like I have the loopy cardigan, I have that on the needles. That project is humongous and I have to be in like a very specific mood to want to knit that. So there's that. And then I have right now the Mew top, and genuinely I do not want to take the Mew top off of the needles and try it on. And so that's just gonna sit, like over there until I'm in the mood to take off over 200 stitches of sport weight yarn and try it on. And so other than those two projects, I literally have nothing knit that I'm working on. And so I've kind of just been, I don't know, in limbo. And so I thought today, we're going to go through my Ravelry favorites and we're going to see maybe is there something that sparks my inspiration, something that makes me want to cast on, just because, like I really have not been knitting lately, and it's genuinely because I do not want to start a project that I don't have intentions on finishing. But it's like, I don't know, nothing has really been inspiring me, if that makes sense. So friend, we're going to go through my Ravelry favorites and we're going to see maybe can we find something that we can possibly cast on this weekend. And then also, like, I don't know, I'm nosy AF and I like to see like other people's Ravelry likes, if that makes sense. I don't know. This isn't necessarily like things that I want to knit or things that I plan to knit. Like literally we are going through Ravelry and hoping that something, like jumps out at me and makes me want to cast on something new, because I am at such a standstill with my knitting and I feel like I have been, for a little bit amount of time. I will say this is my criteria. This is my criteria because I do have a lot of things that I want to knit and things that I could knit, but it's not that I necessarily like don't want to, I don't want to buy more yarn, but it's not necessarily that I'm not going to buy more yarn or that like I refuse to buy new yarn. But I feel like if I'm going to buy new yarn, it has to be for something, that one, I'm excited to make. Also, I don't want to buy like a really large quantity of yarn. And so I feel like a lot of the projects that I kind of have in my head to make eventually are like cardigans or something that requires, like a lot of yarn. I have no intentions on buying 4, 5, 6 balls of skeins of yarn. Like I'm kind of looking for a 2, 3 ball project. Also, a lot of the yarn that I already own, I've mentioned before, are like single balls, single skeins. Like one, I don't have any yarn where I have like multiple balls of the same color, and so realistically, I think I'm going to have to buy, new yarn. And so my thing is, if I'm going to buy more yarn, it has to be on something that I'm very excited to make, and like low-key, nothing is making me excited. I will link my Ravelry down below if anybody wants to say hi to me on there. But friend, I'm gonna be honest, I do not be on Ravelry like that. Well, I just screenshotted 444 because it's 444. But if anybody wants to say hi to me on Ravelry, but I'm going to be 100% honest, friend, I do not be on Ravelry like that. I didn't even know Ravelry was going up. Let's see. We're going to go through my Ravelry favorites and we're going to see, is there anything on here that we could possibly make, just because your girl is struggling so bad. I'm struggling so bad. Knitting is, a huge part of my identity, and I literally have nothing to knit. Okay, I actually bought this pattern, and the reason that I haven't made it is because I don't have the proper size needles. And then see, that's also the thing. I tend to knit the same things over and over just because I don't like buying more needles, if that makes sense. Like I feel like if I'm going to spend my money on knitting supplies, I'd rather buy yarn. Like having to buy needles, it really makes me upset. And so I guess if I find something, that I'm super excited to make, I have no problem buying, like the needles. But that's the thing, friend. I just said there's nothing that I've been like so excited to make I can justify buying new yarn and needles. Does that make sense? So the first one are these tabi slippers. I absolutely love this pattern. I actually bought the pattern, and this is something that I want to make. What was stopping me was having to buy new needles. It looks like the recommended size is 3.5, 3.7, and 4 millimeters. That's also the thing. I feel like so many projects that I see that I want to make use an unnecessary amount of needles. Does that make sense? Like 3 knitting needles for one project is low-key OD. Like, is that just me? Friend, I don't know, but this one is really cute. I actually bought this pattern. It doesn't even look like it would require that much yarn. Like, I probably could get away with 164 yards. I don't even know what that means, but I feel like maybe like a ball or two, I'd be able to do it. I already have this pattern in like low key. If I was gonna make it, I feel like I would have already made it. So maybe we should just move on to the next one. I kind of don't even know why. I feel like I shouldn't have even brought that one up if we're gonna be honest. Okay, I actually really love this one. This is the, what's the name? The Abbie backpack. The designer photo, the bag looks really just like little and cute. It's a, how do you say, like a drawstring opening, and then it has the flap. I feel like this is a project that I actually would be able to take on the go with me. That's very important to me at this time, something that I can travel with, just because the cardigan that I'm working on and the millions of colors that I'm using to make it, absolutely no way I am traveling with that project. I did like the Mew top for a really long time just because it's so small and like portable, but we've already mentioned why that project is not working at the moment. And so I feel like the Abbie backpack would be really cute. It looks like it's two DK yarns held together to make Aran. If it's two DK yarns held together to make Aran weight yarn, can I just use like a weight 4 worsted Aran yarn instead? Is that how that works? Because low-key, I don't like holding yarns together. Like if a project requires yarns to be held together, I'll try to find some way around it. Okay, wait, low key, friend. It says a 4mm needle and a 2.5. I feel like I have some 4s lying around. I have a million worsted yarns and the backpack isn't that big, so I wouldn't need like too much, right? Okay, wait, low key, Abbie backpack. We're gonna put this on the very most likely possibly we could make it. Very most likely. We're gonna put this on the list of like very realistic options. I said that I don't want to do any cardigans, I don't want to do any big projects, but like low key, if we're gonna go through my Ravelry likes, cardigans, big projects are in them, and so I feel like let's talk about them really quick. This is actually a this is a kid's knitting pattern, and so I wonder if I'd be able to make it like in an adult size. I have no reason to make a child's knitting pattern, but this is absolutely so cute and adorable, and I have to share it even if it's not a realistic option. But the 640 cowboy jacket, this is absolutely so cute. I think really what sticks out to me immediately is the front of this cardigan, how it has the little V fringe. I feel like you don't have to only knit things that you would wear, right? And a kid's cardigan would technically be considered a small project. I don't know, why would I make a kid's cardigan? And then also it's like none of my friends have children, so it's like I don't even have anyone to gift it to. I don't know any kids. Like literally I would just be making this pattern for fun. But the intarsia on the back I feel like would keep me engaged enough to where, you know, like I wouldn't want to quit or jump ship after the first week. But then also, since it is a child's pattern, I would consider this, you know, like a portable project or a small project. Am I crazy for putting this on the low-key realistic things that I could make? Would we consider this pattern a stash buster? Friend, let me know. Do you kind of see what I'm talking about? Or are you like, girl, you're, girl, are you well? I don't know. And it uses 5mm needles. So I 100% have 5mm needles. And I actually have 5s in like different lengths as well. So I wouldn't have to buy new needles. I wouldn't have to buy new yarn. I think the main thing is just like, do I have a reason to make this pattern? Can I convince myself to make something that I have obviously no chance of wearing? And I don't even really have a home for it in my mind. Like I don't have anyone that I could give it to. But I don't know, this pattern is so cute and I've had it in my Ravelry likes like literally 5 ever. Friend, am I crazy for adding this to the realistic things we could possibly make list? I kind of am, just because I've had this saved like since the beginning of time, and the fact that I wouldn't even have to buy any materials is really intriguing me. Like the only thing I'd have to buy is the pattern, which is $4, which compared to some of these other ones, you know, like I wouldn't have to buy multiple needle sizes, I wouldn't have to buy new yarn. Like I really could make this work with what I have at home. We're gonna add this to the realistic list of things we could possibly make. I know, a little bit crazy, but I don't know. I think this is also really like, I don't know, the pattern is just so cute. The pattern is super cute. We know that I'm kind of in my Wild West horse, year of the horse era. And so this pattern is really appealing to me, maybe more than it was in the past. And even in the past, I added it to my Ravelry likes just because, you know, like I'm low-key obsessed. Next on the list, we have the V-neck vest. What caught my eye immediately about this vest is the color work on the front. I love the argyle. I love it. I love it. I love it. It really has like, I don't know, it feels vintage to me. Is argyle considered like a vintage print? What even qualifies a pattern or print as being vintage. In my mind, I guess that's just like the first thing that comes to mind is like argyle is vintage, but I love the color work. I love the argyle. I love the color work. It does use worsted yarn. I have enough colors, I think, to make that work. And the needles are 4.5 and then 3.75. Do I have any 4.5s? I don't know. I have to go through my needles, I think, and even see. Wait, should we go through my needles and see what sizes I even have? Okay, wait, I'm gonna go get my little needle box really quick. Okay, friend, this is how I store all of my needles. Actually, they're low-key a mess. Please, if you have like a cool way or a way that's really effective and works for you on how you store your needles, let a girl know. Mine are kind of all just in this little toolbox case, you know, that I thrifted. And I feel like it works kind of, but a lot of my needles are like these right here, perfect example. Like they ended up bent. These needles are not cheap. I do not want my knitting needles to just be all banged and bent up. Of course, these are addie needles, which means there are no size on them. Of course, I literally have no idea what size these needles are. Literally, most of my needles don't even have the sizes written on them, so I don't even know if going through them is going to be effective at this point. My favorite needles are the, how do you say this? I need to actually look it up and stop and stop guessing every time it comes up, but the Chiagos, that's what it's going to be for today. What size are these? These are my favorite, all-time favorite needles just because they put the size on them. Like, whoever works over there at Chicago, like, friend, you are my everything. Okay, what are these? These are 3 millimeters. I can kind of remember, like, in my head sometimes the different needle sizes that I use for different projects, but sometimes I don't. These are, like, pretty big. What size are these? I feel like these are, like, these gotta at least be 4s. Yeah, these are 4 millimeters. These are kind of big too. These are like maybe 3 somethings. Let's see what these are. And then these are 3.5. What did we say this was? Okay, so I need a 4.5 and a 3.75. Low key, I feel like I have enough needles to wear like, can't you? Like, does it have to be the exact needle size? If a pattern says 4.5 millimeters and 3.75 millimeters, if I have like 4s or I had a 3.5, can't I make it work? Like if I do a swatch and kind of figure it out. I low-key knit the same things over and over just because, you know, like once I figure out the gauge, once I have the materials, to me, it's so much easier to just make the same thing. That's why I have so many basic open knits, but I'm kind of at the point where it's like I want to knit something new. I don't want to knit any more basic open knits because normally in the past, when I get to the point where I'm like, okay, I don't know what I want to knit, I don't want to buy more materials, I'll just make something, you know, that I've already made just because I know that I have the supplies. But I want to make something new. So this argyle sweater is actually really cute, but then like low key, I did say that I want something that's portable, and I feel like this is similar to the loopy cardigan in the sense that I need multiple balls of yarn. And so I don't like to travel with multiple balls of yarn. To me, a portable project is like one pair of needles and one color yarn, like maybe two, preferably one color of yarn. Wait, so then would that eliminate the cowboy sweater? Now that I'm thinking about it, with that color work on the back and the front, I don't know. I feel like the color work on the cowboy, since it's like a child's sweater, it wouldn't be as intense as this argyle sweater. So it's not necessarily the same thing. I really love this actually. I really want to make this actually. This is the campus vest. I have wanted to make a vest forever. I chose this one specifically because it's a V-neck vest. Like in some of the pattern photos and the tester photos, a lot of people have made cropped versions, which is what I would do just because I have the world's shortest torso. Also, I feel like V-neck is more flattering, you know, like for the bust area. Like V-neck is more flattering when you don't have a super flat chest. And so a V-neck and a crop. The yarn weight though is DK. I don't have any DK weight yarn, and so I would have to buy more yarn in addition to buying the pattern. The needles are 4 millimeter and 3.5 millimeters. I do for sure have 4s, 3.75. I don't know if I have 3.75, but I do know that I have 3.5s. And so I guess I wouldn't have to buy new needles. I'd only have to buy yarn and I'd have to buy the pattern. But I guess since it is a sleeveless and I would make it cropped, I wouldn't need that much yarn. And so yardage 620 to 1840. I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea what that even means. I don't even know what the yards mean. I'd have to, you know, like look up. Okay, wait, should I look up some DK yarn? What DK yarn would I even use? I don't think I have anything that I've made with only strictly DK yarn, and so I don't even know. Would I use a cascade yarn? Most likely, just because I guess all of the worsted yarn that I use is cascade as well. Also not sponsored, which it low-key should be. I'd be plugging cascade absolutely too much on this channel. But not sponsored. That's just, like I mentioned, I kind of like to use the same materials over and over and over again, just because once I get familiar, you know, like it's so much easier for me to do the same thing than to find something new. And so I've used cascade yarn, you know, like a billion times. And so I guess just in my head, that's what I would use. Or like Barocco Ultra Wool DK, just because I really do love my Barocco Ultra Wool. That's what I'm using right now to knit my my Mew top. Okay, let's see, 14.25 for one ball. How much is the cascade one? Really at this point, I think friend, really at this point, I think it comes down to like which one is the least expensive. And then Cascade, let's see how much Cascade is. Friend, I don't even see Cascade on here. I'm really scrolling. Okay, Cascade Merino DK. One ball of this is $12.50. Okay, I actually would use Cascade then over Barocco. What color would I want to use? Wait, we're not here to look for the colors. I'm supposed to see how many yards are in one ball, one skein. 254. That would be 7 balls for like the biggest size. I'm going to assume that I would most likely fall somewhere in the middle-ish. The pattern has like the separate measurements of the upper bust. I don't know my measurements off the top of my head. I really don't. If I had to guess, probably would be the second size. It looks like there's 6 sizes in total. Maybe the second or the third size. So how many yards is that? 900-ish yards. So then how many would I need to buy? Let's say 900. Let's round up. Just for the sake of this video, friend, this is not a math channel. 4-ish balls of yarn. I guess that's not too many really in the grand scheme of things. Compared to a cardigan, maybe where I would need like 6, 7. 3 balls of yarn is not that much. Ooh, wait, friend, low key, this might be the runner-up. What color would I make it in? Okay, wait, this pumpkin heather, this orange is absolutely beautiful. You know I love me a good orange. Even this golden heather is really pretty as well. The only thing is when I'm really thinking about my wardrobe right now, am I going to wear this bright orange? Am I going to wear bright yellow? Maybe not. This olive heather is also really cute. This is more of a color I think that I would wear. Of course, my first mind always is like, make stripes, girl, put stripes. Not this time, not this time. I genuinely want to make something just in one solid color. I don't want a whole bunch of different balls of yarn. Again, like I mentioned, I want it to be as portable as possible. I feel like just naturally, I love stripes. You know, I love stripes. That's the first thing that I want to do is turn everything into stripes. But for this next project, I don't want to use stripes. I really don't want to use multiple colors of yarn. Like when I'm really thinking about it, I feel like if I find a pattern that I absolutely love that would look the best with multiple balls of yarn, like I'll do it. I don't have no problem doing it, but realistically, I'm not trying to use like multiple balls of yarn. This holly color is also really cute. Ooh, this is like what color is this? Like a blue-ish? Your girl's not really wearing blue. This navy, I like this navy too as an option. Okay, low-key, I think the Abbie backpack and this vest are going to be like, these are my favorite ones so far. Out of all of the colors I mentioned, I think I do like the olive heather the best. If I were to make this vest, I think I would use this olive heather color. This is the runner-up. The campus vest is the runner-up. I'd only have to buy the yarn and the pattern. If I make this vest, I'm definitely going to make it work with the needles I have. I'm like 99% sure that I have a 3.75 and I'm pretty sure I have a 4. Wait, didn't we just read? What needles did we just read off? Okay, so these are my 4s. These are my 4s. I wouldn't have to buy 4s. And 3.75, I feel like I could make a 3.5 work. Like if I didn't have 3.75, I could make a 3.5 work. What was that? Yeah, and these are my 3.5s. I forgot literally that fast. And these are my 3s. Okay, so I feel like I can make it work, right? Next on my Ravelry likes, this is actually something that I was really excited when I found the pattern to add to my likes, just because this is something I feel like would be super cute for the summer. It is the Norwood's V-neck. I think just my biggest hesitation with this one is it's like a full garment and it's using DK weight. So it's not that I wouldn't consider it portable, I guess I would, but it's slightly bigger than maybe what I want to commit to at the moment, just because I am already making a cardigan. And so that's why I think I like the vest maybe the most so far, just because, you know, like there's no sleeves, and then also it's a V-neck, and then also I would crop it. But I really do like this one. It uses DK weight yarn. I don't know, friend, I don't think I'm gonna make this one. I don't think this is gonna make the cut just because using a DK weight yarn and then having to make long sleeves. It is cropped, which I like. I feel like making something cropped would go by faster than making something that's like full length, but I'm really not in the mood to knit sleeves. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm really not in the mood to knit sleeves, but I really do love this pattern. I've had this favorited for a minute. In the designer photo, it's made like using stripes. If I made it, I would make it in a solid color. I'm gonna add this maybe to the list of things to make possibly one day, eventually in the future, maybe during the colder months, just because I think where I'm at right now, it's not portable enough for me. And also, I don't want to knit sleeves. I really don't want to knit sleeves. Next on my favorites is the flirty skirt. Actually, I love this one. I actually really love this one. I feel like I could make this work with the needles that I already have. I don't feel like I would have to buy new needles. The suggested yarn is GGH Domino. I don't know what weight that is. Let's see what weight that is. It's a worsted yarn. Okay, it's a worsted yarn, so I wouldn't even have to buy more yarn. I mentioned how I want to make something in a solid color. I don't want to use multiple colors, but I'll make an exception if I'm able to use yarn that I already have at home. I don't mind, I guess, being a little bit flexible on that. If I don't have to buy new yarn, I'm more willing to make something with multiple colors, especially since, you know, like all of my yarn is kind of just a color here, a color there. And I feel like a skirt is portable, right? Portable-ish. It's smaller than like an entire cardigan. Wait, no, I'm kind of upset. This is one of those patterns where it's like it was published in this magazine a million years ago and it's no longer available, but here's everybody's project. Okay, wait, I'm kind of sad. I can't even make this one because the pattern's not for sale. I feel like making a skirt though, can't you freehand a skirt? I feel like that wouldn't be too difficult to kind of figure out without a pattern, right? Especially this skirt. It looks like maybe the hardest thing would be, I don't know, figuring out the ruffles on the bottom, but even then, that's not too hard, right? I've knit ruffles before. If I were to make the skirt, I think I'd start from the bottom up. Okay, I know how to knit bottom up ruffles, and then the top is like a little drawstring. Actually, the most difficult part would be probably figuring out the fit, just because I wouldn't, at least for my body shape, I wouldn't want just like one giant tube and then just drawstring at the top. Like I'd want, you know, to do increases and decreases just so that it hugs my body in like a real specific way. But low-key, I feel like I could figure this out. And I guess if I made my own pattern, I wouldn't even have to buy one. How am I feeling about this? But how do I feel about making a skirt? I don't know if I want to make one enough to where, you know, I'd be able to start and finish it. Also, the thought of having, you know, to do all that math to get the perfect fit is not making me feel the best. I really genuinely would not mind just reading a pattern and following the instructions. I want something, you know, that I can kind of just knit when I'm in the car or when I'm watching, you know, like my show, something where I don't have to think about it too much. Having to make my own pattern might be a little bit more brain capacity than I'm willing to dedicate at the moment. But this one is the Coachella. It's just called Coachella. And it's like this cowl racer back top, which I absolutely love. Somebody posted their project and they made kind of like an oversized-ish version and they made it long and it was kind of like a layering piece. I feel like maybe using this as a cover up for a swim outfit or something to wear, you know, over on top of like another tank or like a bikini top would be really cute. Friend, it's a free pattern. So it uses 4.5 needles and 5.5 needles. I'm pretty sure I can find 4.5 needles somewhere. I'm pretty sure I have them, but 5.5, I don't have 5.5 needles. I have 5 and I have 6. But it does use worsted weight yarn. That's the thing. It does use worsted weight yarn, which is kind of my preference. I feel like that's the easiest yarn, at least for me, to work with. Okay, I guess I'd have to figure it out. If I had to look at it, eyeing it, I feel like this is probably like 3 balls of yarn, actually. And so I guess I still would have to buy yarn just because I don't have 3 balls of any color, like I mentioned. And I feel like this specific shape would look better in a solid color yarn. Like I wouldn't add stripes or multiple colors if I were to make this pattern. But I really like this. And the fact that the pattern is free, and I wouldn't buy more needles. I would just make, you know, the needles that I have work, just because I do have so many sizes that are similar to, you know, the recommended size. I like this, and this is something, you know, that I could wear for the summer. I'm gonna be honest though, friends, still so far I like the vest a little bit more. The vest is the runner up, but this racer back is really cute. And the fact that it's a free pattern, you know, I love a good free pattern. Okay, next in my likes, I've actually had this in my likes since the pattern came out. When did this pattern come out? October 2025. The sailor slippers, this pattern was super viral, super popular when it came out. Why did I not make it? I feel like I couldn't find the yarn that was recommended, and since this is a felted pattern, the yarn has to be like really specific, and just trying to figure out what yarn to use was a little bit stressful for me at the time. And so I kind of was like, oh, you know, like I'll make this later. But this is actually something I would really love to make. And I feel like using bulky yarn, you know, like it would knit up pretty quickly. Also, I've been so interested in felting ever since, you know, I learned that that was a thing. The sailor slippers would be so cute and fun to make, and they're small. It would be portable. My only hesitation is that I guess I could make multiple pairs. I was gonna say my hesitation is that making the slippers, it would be a fast project, but I'm worried that it would be like it would go by too fast. I want something that's not going to take, you know, months and months, like an entire cardigan, but I don't want a project that I could probably finish in a couple of days, just because I feel like we'll be right back at square one. Like if I get a knitting project that I'm able to make in a weekend, we're right back at square one trying to figure like, okay, like now that I'm done this knit, what can I knit? And so I do want a project, I think that would at least take me, you know, like 2-3 weeks, just because I don't want to finish too quickly and then kind of still be trying to figure out, okay, like what's next? What's next? I want something, you know, to kind of sustain me for a little bit, if that makes any sense. I could make multiple pairs of slippers. I could make slippers for other people, but then I guess also I'd have to buy more yarn. And if I were to make multiple pairs of slippers, I wouldn't want to make, you know, like the same colorway over and over again. Like I would want my slippers to be different colors, but I wouldn't want to buy like so many different colors of yarn. I feel like realistically, the slippers don't make sense, but they're something that I'd be really excited to make. So I guess we're gonna put this on the list of maybes. How many lists do we have at this point? I have my list of realistic things to possibly make, and then my list of maybe, and then my list of no. Realistic things to possibly make, now that I'm thinking about it really quick, is the Abbie backpack and the vest. Now that I've, you know, gone through more patterns, that cowboy child's pattern, I don't think that's realistic anymore, just because I don't want to use multiple colors of yarn. I really don't. The sailor slippers, I would make an exception to make, you know, multiple colors of yarn, just because I guess if I had different colors, you know, like I'd be able to mix and match them. Also, since it's bulky yarn, I feel like having multiple colors of bulky yarn is not the same thing as having multiple colors of DK yarn, if that makes sense. But I think still at this time, the vest is the one that I like the most. I'd have to use 8mm needles. I do not have 8mm needles. I never knit with bulky yarn. I never knit with big needles. Okay, these needles are actually fairly new because the size is still on them. I thrifted these like forever ago and just haven't had a reason to use them. They are 10mm though. What does the pattern say? 8. So that's the thing, you know, I don't even have 8s. These are 10mm, my thrifted Addie needles. I have these jumbo needles. These are my 12mm. These are the ones that I use to make my basic open knit. You can see like they're kind of bending just a little bit. Friend, how do you store your needles? This is unacceptable. I really, you know, take pride in my needles, and I try to get, you know, ones that are of decent quality. I don't want all of my needles to be bending. I do have these clovers. These are the largest needles that I have outside of those 12mm needles. And this size is 9mm and the other ones are 10mm. So I don't even have 8mm needles. I'd have to buy a new pair of needles, and then I'd also have to buy the yarn, and I'd also have to buy the pattern. That's why I never made the sailor slippers. If you want to know why I never made the sailor slippers, it's because literally I'd have to buy completely new materials. And I mean, I can, but I don't really want to. And also the pattern is 981. So, okay, sailor slippers, we're going to put that on the later list, just because that's too many new supplies to have to buy. If I only had to buy needles, or only had to buy the pattern, or only had to buy the yarn, like maybe we could make it work, but having to buy all three, yeah, I ain't in the mood. Okay, this pattern I really love. It's the aina. It looks like some type of layering overall button down dress piece. I like this because I really love this because I feel like there's different ways that I can style it. I do like a v-neck moment, especially for a layering piece. It uses worsted yarn, so possibly I could use yarn that I already have, and 5mm needles, which I absolutely do already have a pair of 5mm needles. So the only thing that I have to buy is the pattern. If I wanted it to be all one color, I'd have to buy new yarn as well. But if I didn't mind, you know, maybe making some stripes or just using different colors, I'd only have to buy the pattern. This is really cute. I really love this. I feel like on top of like jeans. I think also what made me add this to my favorites is I love the shape of like this little dress layering piece. It's kind of like a halter. In the design photo, in the pattern photo, the designer is styled it with a long sleeve top and over pants. Would I do something similar? Probably. I feel like even maybe like with a tube top, would that work? I'm trying to think of like a way to make it summer. You could wear it on top of a short sleeve shirt. I really like this. I really like this. I think this would come down to maybe like what colors I would use. Okay, I think we're gonna add this to the maybes just because I think this pattern is really cute and there are a million different ways I feel like you could style this. I feel like this is similar to the vest in the sense that like, you know, like it has the V-neck. I don't know how long I would make it. I probably wouldn't make it this long just for my own body shape. I like that it uses worsted weight yarn. I think if I had to choose between using worsted weight yarn and using DK yarn, I'd prefer to use worsted weight yarn. But in terms of like which pattern I like more, which one I feel like I'm more realistically going to wear or like enjoy knitting, I don't know. I really don't know. I feel like this design is so cool and I've been wanting to make, you know, like something halter for the longest time. A halter dress layering piece could be kind of a moment. Okay. We're going to add this to the list of possible things to actually make. I think so far, what do we have on possible things to make? The backpack, the campus vest, and now this dress aina. We're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. The next thing on my favorites list is the espresso top. Actually, friend, this might be the one. This might be the one. I've been wanting to make a summer top for the longest time. I really love like the little, what's it called? Keyhole opening of this one. I also like the shape of the sleeves. They're like, I don't know, like strap sleeves. I feel like this would be a very portable piece. It's not that big and it's something that I could wear, you know, like very immediately in the future. Okay, low key, I like this a little bit more than the campus vest. It looks like it's two yarns held together, two fingering yarns held together to make a DK. I would just use a DK yarn. I'm not, we already mentioned, friend, we are not holding no yarns together, not doing it, but just a DK yarn. I feel like I wouldn't mind knitting something in a DK if it was like a shirt like this, just because I don't know, in my mind it wouldn't take like too long to do. I do love this color that the designer used, this chocolate brown, but I don't think I would make mine in chocolate brown. What color would I use? The suggested yarn, let's see what the fiber content is of this yarn. It's bamboo and cotton. What would be like a comparable bamboo and cotton yarn? Let's look it up really quick. Okay, this one is 55% cotton, 45% viscose from bamboo. I do like this burgundy color right here. I feel like this is really similar to the weekend tote that I made. But do I want to make something in the exact same color as something that I made literally like my last project? Probably not. I do like this avocado oil color and this fur green color. I think I would probably wear fur green more than I would wear avocado oil. I guess I could make it in white. I wouldn't even mind having this in white. Maybe this, the color that I want to use is not even in stock. I would want to use this eggshell color. It says expected August. Okay, maybe not. I could find another brand, but I do like the idea maybe of making it in white, especially as a summer top. Or even this ivy green color I feel like is really cute. I don't know, would I wear that color though? That's the only thing. The color is cute, but would I wear it? That's the question. Would I wear this color? Low key, this might be our new runner-up. I think this is going to beat the vest just because it is a slightly smaller project. I feel like this is something, like when I think of what I would be more excited to wear, the vest over this top, I would be more excited to wear this top if I'm going to be honest. And it uses DK yarn and 4mm needles. So I already have 4mm needles. I would just have to get some yarn and then buy the pattern. I don't think I've ever knit just like an everyday top. Well, I made that halter. I do have my halter top, but I like the idea of just knitting an everyday top, especially like for the summer. I love a good strapless or spaghetti strap moment, and I don't know, making your own clothes would be cuter, you know, than buying something like this. Okay, wait, low-key, this is going to be our new runner-up. The espresso top. I really love this. We're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. I'm feeling a little bit more inspired. Okay, this is from the same designer. I feel like this top was super popular for like a really long time. This is the silhouette top. I love the shape of this top. I think though really what like grabbed me, what made me want to favorite this, what makes me want to make this are like the little button details down the middle. I think that's so cute. And then also how adorable are these tiny little cap sleeves. And it also uses 4mm needles and then two fingerings held together, so DK weight yarn. So similar to the last pattern, this is by the same designer. It uses the same size needles and the same yarn. I think though compared to the espresso top, I would prefer to make the espresso top. The silhouette top is so cute. I think I really just love the details on this top. The high neck, the cap sleeve, you know, like the buttons down the middle. It's a top, you know, it's portable. It's something that I'd be able to make with one color. But if I'm comparing it against the espresso top, I would prefer to make the espresso top. I really would. But this is really cute. Maybe after the espresso top, I could tackle this one just because, you know, it's using the same needle size and because it's the same designer. You know, I'd kind of like know how this designer writes, you know, their pattern. And in my mind, I guess that would be easier to do. Does that make sense? Do you understand what I'm trying to say, friend? But I really like this. If I were to make this, ooh, what colors would we use? And then they use the same type of yarn. So like that viscose, bamboo, not viscose, what did I say? That cotton. What's the difference between viscose and bamboo? The Cascade Pandemonium, they said viscose from bamboo, but I don't really, I guess, know what that means. What other like bamboo cotton yarn could we use? Like Cascade has Ultra Pima, 100% Pima cotton yarn, light DK yarn. Let's see what colors there are. I love this brick color. We know I love my muted reds, my burgundies, my terracottas. These are like some of my favorite colors. Also, this burgundy color is really cute. I feel like the brick, like I mentioned before, might be a little bit too similar to the color that I used when I made my weekend tote. But this burgundy, oh, I love this color. What if I made the espresso top in burgundy? I like this ginger snap color, I do. It's really simple, muted, kind of like a taupe-ish color. I think I like ginger snap a little bit more maybe for the silhouette top as opposed to the espresso top, but I do like that color. I kind of like the silver sage color too. It's like a really like a gray green. I guess that's silver sage, like a grayish green, like a really muted, I want to say grayish, but it does have like hints of green, so it's not strictly just grayish. I do like this avocado color, this green. Ooh, maybe I might like this green color for the espresso top. That might be my favorite color I think so far, more than the white, just because I think making it in white would be really cute. The espresso top, even the silhouette top I think would look good in white too, but white is more of a simple color. I think I would prefer maybe to use like an actual color. Ooh, this taupe is cute too. I like this taupe color. I would probably use this maybe for the silhouette top, like this taupe color, and then maybe mismatched buttons, like brown, gray, black, like mismatched buttons. I think that would be cute. Or even this buff color. A color, like how I mentioned wanting to do something in white. I feel like this buff is more of like an off-white, a way to use white without, you know, it feeling like too simple, too basic. I do like this chocolate color. In the espresso top, the designer used that brown as the, what is it, like the sample photo. I don't know if I necessarily would make my espresso top in brown just because it already is kind of like a little shirt, and I feel like brown might like blend into my skin like too much. I want more of a contrasting color. I like this chocolate color, I think more for the silhouette top, and then again with the mismatched buttons, maybe like different shades of brown. And is monochromatic the right word to use right there? Ooh, even this cocoa color I think is really cute. In the picture it kind of looks like, in my head I want to say like a cognac color, like a spiced color, like an orange-ish brown. I like this color actually. I feel like the espresso top and the silhouette top would look really good in this cocoa color. Okay, I think so far the espresso top is in the lead, and then possibly the silhouette top like afterwards, maybe. Okay, friend, last pattern from my favorites, or else this video is going to be like 8 hours long. I didn't realize I had so many tops on here. Maybe that's a sign. The Totally Tank top, I really like this one because the shape is simple and it's a crop, like it's a cropped top. Okay, wait, low-key I like this better than the espresso top. The only thing is that it's made with fingering weight yarn. If something's made with fingering weight yarn and I like make a swatch and I figure out how to use DK weight yarn instead of fingering weight yarn, can you do that? I feel like the swatch is so that you can switch out the different yarns and the needles if you want to, right? And still get it to fit. Because if I could make the Totally Tank top using the Lion brand Trueboo and potentially, you know, like needles that I already have, maybe my 4s or even a 3.5, I feel like this is the one that I'm going to do. Just because I like the shape a little bit better. I feel like it's more versatile with like the little scoop neck, and it has the racer back, which I think is a cute detail and something that I've just wanted to knit. And then also the pattern is cropped, which I like for my super short torso. It's perfect for the summertime. It would make a good portable project, and I feel like there's enough like differentness between the ribbing and the shape of the top, you know, to keep me engaged. But this is a smaller project, it being a tank and it being cropped. It wouldn't take me too long to do. Friend, did we just find my new knit? Wait, low-key, I think if I had to look at it and eye it, maybe like 4 balls of this. Friend, I think I found my next knit, low-key, actually. I think I'm going to make this one. This is the Totally Tank by Jessie Made Designs. Out of all of the ones that I've looked at, this is actually my favorite one. If I can make the needles that I already have work, I want to make the Totally Tank top. That way I'd only have to buy the pattern and then some more yarn. If I couldn't figure that out, then the second runner-up is the espresso top. But overall, I feel like this was pretty successful. I do have like 500 trillion million more favorites in my Ravelry likes, but if we go through every single one of them, we'll never get through this video. But friend, let me know, out of everything that I've shared, which one was your favorite? What are you currently knitting? Is it summer weather friendly? I think that's all I got for today. Thank you so much for spending time with me, and I will see you next Sunday. Bye.